Amigos de 5-2, ¿cómo están? Cabra Coral. I am here. I'm not just only blessed. Manteles largos, cabrones. Aquí estoy con
Felipe Galván de los Skarnales de Quito, Texas.
Skarnales in the house.
Like nobody
And
yo, is Richard, keyboard player.
Richard
Skarnales, you know, every now and then. Keyboard, sometimes timbalas, sometimes I put blindfolds over people.
And Lone Star all the time.
And all the time.
That's
Lone Star, especially in Texas.
repping over here.
Repping like nobody.
Repping Houston, Texas. Here we go.
It was an amazing show tonight. We're out of San Antonio. Los Skarnales had not just the show. You were all decked out in your Pachuco gear, right?
Yes.
Sweating it off. Pluma was blowing off the air. Everybody was jamming. Heads were banging. Did you have a good time? That's the question. Did you have a good time?
We had a blast.
Did you have a
We
blast?
had a blast. It
Yeah.
was good times, and especially here in San Antonio, like we've been playing San Antonio for like over 20 years. I know, right? Since like yesterday.
It feels like
And the San Antonio people are just fucking awesome, you know? It's you know, the way we are, they're not fans, they're friends, they're almost familia, you know? So
San
that was,
Antonio, man, the city, the culture, the music, the people, the food.
Ooh, the food.
Everything. It's a combination of what it means to be Tex-Mex, for sure.
So you get
Tejano.
the real deal, right?
The real deal,
Sure,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, so you gotta tell my followers, the 5-2, Johnny Jet stole the show. Y'all had the nerve to put him in at like 5 minutes into the show, right in front of me,
Johnny Rock and Roll.
and I was done. That was it. And by the way, I do have a small interview with him, so we always want to get him a drink. That's number one. So tell us about Johnny Jet and how he's gonna take over Los Skarnales.
Johnny Jet is my 5-year-old mijo. That's my son. That's my pride and joy. Just like, you know, we all have kids, and of course, everybody has kids. That's your own personal pride and joy. But this little guy, he's a miracle baby. You know, my wife did an awesome job when we were pregnant, and he came out, and oh my God, like I'm overwhelmed. Like, you know, me personally, because I know how awesome he is, but see, like, him get on stage and do his thing, and people liking it. Oh my God, that's a blessing by itself, and I wish, and I wish everybody can experience that.
In fact, we want to thank you for bringing him on stage. He's only 5 years old. He's going to kindergarten. You know, he should be aware. He's going to kindergarten.
Yeah.
But he did tell me he's going to have a lot of people in his band in the future.
Luca's gonna be probably his drummer.
Yeah. So he's been cool. Luca, tell him about
Yeah,
Luca.
Tell me about Luca.
Luca's awesome.
My 6-year-old and Johnny Jet, they've been talking. I guess they're working things out, but they're gonna form a band eventually, probably in the near 20 years or something. But you know, they're working on it.
How old is Luca?
Luca's 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
5-year-old Johnny Jet,
Yeah.
6-year-old Luca.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, the reason Johnny Jet's name is Johnny Jet is because your father, and by the way, Reynosa in the house representing.
Reynosa like nobody business.
And
Órale.
his dad, your father, is
Thank
a
you, brother.
rock pioneer, yes? The Reynosa, right? We're both from Reynosa, so it's very important, very special, right?
Right.
Tell us about your dad and how Johnny Jet came to be.
Oh shit. That's a long story, but I'm gonna make it short.
Make it short,
Make it short because there's Tim right over there.
Tim! Hey, get in here, man! Tim! The legend himself! How old are you, Tim? How old are you, babe? How old are you?
He's immortal.
How old are you, guns? How old are you, guns?
He's immortal.
20?
Immortal.
Thank you. Point made.
So random.
70.
You saw those guns?
Yeah.
They're like 20
Don't
years
come
old.
down.
48 is best. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Johnny Jet, so in Reynosa, in the 60s, his dad was a pioneer of the rock movement. This is really important because the night you received Johnny Jet, baby, 5-year-old Johnny Jet.
And I was fucked.
Then now you fucked!
Bleep that out. Bleep that out.
You heard it from the source!
No, hey,
Conception.
the night that me and my wife made love
There was
and fuck like nobody business.
May love. May love. We're good at
The night that we made
so much editing going. Veronica, I hope you're taking notes. Take notes.
Shiva out of California said he was in the house. He's going to be definitely.
Okay, long story short, my dad played in the first rock and roll band in Reynosa. Like, you know, and that might be like
in the 60s or 70s.
in the late 50s. In the late 50s, there was like no rock and roll in the Reynosa border town. And my dad and other teenage kids formed this band called Johnny Jets. And from Reynosa, they went to Mexico City to see if they could get signed. And they went like in the early 60s, and they struggled a lot. They couldn't get signed, so they had to come back. They went the second time, and they got signed by CBS Records.
Wow.
And then like my dad was like a rock star, you know. He was like living the lifestyle. That's all he did. All he did was like play you know, music for a living, rock and roll. And they recorded the first bolero with electric guitar. La de Por Fin, which is a traditional bolero that was recorded by Los Panchos, and whenever they did that, like they got criticized, like how can a traditional bolero be played with electric guitar? That's like disrespectful. And they mixed like since they were from Reynosa, like the border, like the northern part of Mexico. They did like this redoba psicodélica, which was like mixing like norteño music with rock and roll, you know, before Café Tacuba or any other bands like you could think of, you know. And they did la minifalda de Reinalda, pestañas de Cirila, and they did like a whole thing. And I can tell you this because that's my dad, you know, and I was blessed to have all these stories told to me when I was a kid growing up, you know. So my dad is like, you know, have him on a pedestal, you know. Gracias a Dios, lo tengo en vida, and you know, he taught me how to play drums. Maybe I wasn't as good as he wanted me to be, porque I just wanted to play punk rock at that time, and he wanted to teach me other stuff like jazz and stuff, and I'm like, no, Pop, you teach me how to play rock and roll and polka, because like a lot of punk rock is like real fast, like a polka. So he taught me how to play rock and roll and polka, and I'm like, that's what I need to know. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to know at the time, because I had, before Los Skarnales, we were called the Sordes, and I was playing drums and
singing.
But I never. We had a singer, but the singer like left us before the show, and I started singing because.
What were you doing? He was singing. So what were you doing? I cannot imagine you do anything but singing.
He was like
what the hell were you doing?
Playing drums.
What were you doing?
I was playing drums.
Oh my God.
I was just playing drums and
God is good all the time. He's now singing, and that's where you need to be. And we'll keep you that way.
But so I grew up like listening to all the stories about my dad, you know, and I'm like, man, it would be a dream come true to play with my dad one of these days.
Right.
So they had this rockabilly festival in Houston, and my good friend Edgar Biggie, he put it together. He's like, hey, why don't you get your dad to like play a show, like as the Johnny Jets? I'm like, no, bro. Like some of the members are already dead. Other members are spread out, but it happened that I think I'm gonna make it short, right?
No. I'm like, dude, I'm from Reynosa. I'm taking this to heart.
Story.
Reynosa is my backyard. Keep on going. So, we got all day.
So I told my dad, I'm like, hey, isn't the original singer living like in McAllen or something, which is not that far? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, why don't you and the singer like play a show together, and then like the bass player, the saxophone player, like it can be like members of the Skarnales, you know, like we have
right.
But at least it'll be like two original members of Johnny Jets.
Two.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's
pretty amazing. Yeah.
And then so my dad practiced with our bass player and our organ player. and then the singer came in and practiced before the show, and oh my God, it sounded great. You know?
Crazy, yeah.
So that night to me was like a dream come true, you know, to be on the crowd watching my dad playing drums, and the original singer and like members of los Skarnales backing them up with the bass, guitar, and organ and saxophone.
Full circle, full circle.
And so that night, me and my wife went home, made love, and I told my wife.
Well, first they brought out a Ouija board. And
That was the way it is. La verdad.
Yeah,
Suéltala.
and then afterwards, like I'm like, you're pregnant.
You just knew that, right? She just said that, by the way.
Well, yeah, because I
She
was.
just said confirm it.
I think
You
we're
knew
gonna
it.
have to
How
bleep
did
some
you
of
know?
this, but
Wait, how did you know?
I didn't know, but we
you
always.
know.
No, he said you're pregnant. That,
you
she
know,
just told
you
me
know.
that story.
I've always been careful. And that night I wasn't careful. And
Wow,
I'm like,
that's amazing.
and I'm like, you're pregnant. Well, there could have been a chance that she wasn't pregnant, right?
But you're better than that. You're better than that.
But I'm like, you're pregnant,
amazing.
and I was like, you're gonna have a girl, you know, because my resume says that I have 3 girls, and all I know how to make is girls.
Oh.
So maybe we can think of a Johnny Jett song where they put a name of the girl,
Right?
like Es Lupe or La Minifalda de Reinaldo.
Ah, Reinalda Lupe. The first few names.
O las pestañas de Cirila, and she was like, my wife was like,
Reinaldo Cirila, eh?
and my wife was like, hey, those names are not crazy, you know, especially like Cirila, you know. And my wife was like, well, what if it's a boy? And I'm like, no, it's not gonna be a boy. My resume says, and she's like, well, what if it is? And I thought about it, I'm like, it's not gonna be a boy. But if it is, it's easy, you know, we're naming Johnny Jett.
Ooh!
There it is. Long story short, I'm sorry. It could have been,
Long story
it could have been
no.
longer.
Do not be sorry. As a matter of fact, I had the pleasure of interviewing Johnny Jett, 5-year-old Johnny Jett.
And you're gonna see it here. Check it out.
You're gonna see it here, sitting on a bar, because he's only 5. But also previous to that, as the show started, I had the pleasure of recording him right in front of me, 5 years old, carrying the tune, singing the song, and he said he's gonna have the band and he's gonna have the band members. So y'all better keep your shit together.
He's ready.
'cause little Johnny
Okay,
Jett,
so now it's time for me to interview you. What did you think about little Johnny Jett?
I loved him.
Are you a fan?
I am a huge fan. I am following him throughout his career.
When did you meet Luca? Luca's awesome.
You're all gonna own this
They're gonna
stuff.
be doing it. They're gonna be doing it. Look out. We're gonna probably be opening for them pretty soon.
Yeah, like,
Somewhere down
Yeah,
the
whenever
line.
Johnny
We
Jett
might
and
work
Luca
something
get
out.
together,
Going down.
they're gonna do some damage.
Yeah.
They're not as adorable as Richard and me, but
No,
we try.
not nearly. Not nearly.
They try. They try.
All right. Now let's talk about this outfit. And I thought that the hat was cool with you know your Pachuco look.
Okay.
And I saw you, and I turned, and suddenly I'm like, Pedro Infante in the house, yo! No, for real, like, where's my motorcycle? I have a nice.
Parece que va a llover, el cielo se está nublando, parece que va a llover.
Ay, mamá, me estoy mojando.
You remember that, right, Beto? Beto remembers like
Yes.
nobody business.
You got it. Was this intentional?
It was not intentional, but
You wear it super well, and you look just like him. Like, this isn't el mustache, la gorrita. Tell us about this gorrita. You were telling me that you.
my good friend Rico from Chicago made it for me.
Rico,
Rico,
Baby, you're gonna
Pachuco,
get some business.
great record selector, real like creative with the hat. So he made it for me, and that's the story behind it, you know.
Yeah.
Like he does like the whole like motorcycle.
Absolutely.
That's why you said like.
But I looked. I had a shot, and I looked, and I'm like,
I had a shot.
Pedro Infante in the house. I'm like,
Órale.
no, for real. You were
But the same way I was blessed with my dad teaching me about rock and roll,
so you know what I'm talking about.
I am also blessed with my mom telling me like teaching me all this stuff about the 1940s and 50s movies, you know, with Pedro Infante, Tintán, Resortes, Javier Solís, José Alfredo Jiménez. I mean, it was like
Okay.
the golden era.
Do you know Resortes?
Did I know?
No. Okay. You might have not met him, but I heard about his wife. Did you get to meet his wife? The pioneer, the queen, the rock and roll. She was it. She wrote the book.
Gloria Rios, yeah. And whenever Gloria Rios went to Mexico, she went through Reynosa. And my dad told me this story. She was like, yeah, she played with the orchestra in Reynosa and she brought rock and roll.
She's the one that wrote the book, right?
She's the queen of rock and roll in Mexico. And a lot of people don't know this. And a lot of people are like, oh, they
don't know that.
Rock and devil. No, it was a woman.
It was a woman.
An awesome woman. She was from here, San Antonio, if I'm right.
Super, yeah, she was. She used to live here. Resortes was in the 1970s, 60s, 70s.
Nah, he was in the 40s and 50s.
Even the 40s and 50s?
Yeah,
okay.
He was like a great, he was a comic.
Right.
But he was also like a great dancer.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And so was Gloria.
And Gloria was a great dancer. She had great legs.
And a little tiny waist.
Yeah, like 1950s. And so you can look it up on YouTube. Like look at Gloria Rios and she was awesome. Yeah, because my dad would tell me like all the stories, and then my mom would tell me like all the stories with like Infante Pintan, Cantinflas, you know. Pero like I've always liked the style. I always like ever since I was a kid, you know. Like I'm like, so when I was real young, I started like going to thrift stores and finding like old clothes.
Did you? Is that how you really? Because I do the same thing, so I'm not the only one.
But my dad is also a tailor.
Wow, you're lucky. So does he do your suits?
He doesn't do my suits. He doesn't do my suits, but ever since like I found 1940s and 50s clothing, he would like fix them for me. You know, if it was too big, and he knew how to do it because he was a tailor for he was a kid.
Wow.
So he knew how to do like the 1.5-inch cuffs, the 2 or 1.5 pleats. And the little like 1/2-inch bell loop, you know, and that's like all little details.
Yeah, little
know?
details, yeah.
That like if you go to a tailor now, they don't even know what the fuck. Yeah, they're like.
But it shows in your outfits, and I noticed it today.
Thank you.
I mean, I do look at the little details, and I have you right here, so I don't always get that pleasure. And if I'm not in the front, I'll rather stay at home and watch YouTube. But y'all were right there, and I could see the details were very Gracias. Yo, Felipe ain't messing around. Reynosa does not mess around. You know, we're like kin. We're like Reynosa. We're brothers, sisters.
Reynosa in the house.
And Reynosa in the house representing. So,
border town.
you got it from me. I only give you premieres. You know that. I don't mess around.
La Santa Cecilia represent.
Santa Cecilia represent.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's the neighborhood I used to live in Reynosa. And
there you
later
go.
on, I found out that Santa Cecilia is the Lord of the musicians. How ironic.
See how ironic is that? It was meant. I think everything about your life that we were explaining it, you were meant. What's your zodiac sign? I'm just curious. You know what it is?
Oh, I don't know. Tell me. What is
No, what's your month?
I'm gonna tell you, but
I'm an Aquarius, so I'm January. I'm the
Aquarius, baby.
You're an Aquarius. Ah! Whoa, shoot.
January 28th.
Oh, 20. Are we gonna? Okay. Are we
Now it's
gonna
official.
throw a
Right,
party?
Veronica? Veronica's already doing the booking.
The 28, 26. Are we throwing a party?
You better believe it. Like nobody's business. Right?
Houston, coming home, baby.
Hey, yeah. Houston, San Antonio, anywhere. Austin, whatever.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
Oh, coming over to my house, Spring Branch.
Wait, you said what?
I'm in Spring Branch, but there's another Spring Branch.
Oh.
But don't leave my address. Leave my address out.
Look how fucking crazy this is. In Houston.
Listen to this. This is important.
You know what?
Your wife told me. Your wife spoiled it. Come here. Don't leave. Cause you.
Whenever the neighborhood that I grew up in Houston is Spring Branch.
And I live in Spring Branch in San Antonio.
That is Spring Branch, Texas. I live in Spring Branch.
But which was cool.
That's fucking crazy.
That's insane. So, which Spring Branch are we celebrating in? Our birthdays? I don't know. You're like 32 and I'm like 23. So I don't know. Figure that out. Like, you know, just be calm. I know you're 32. Anyway, you guys,
Yeah, take that.
we love you.
Puro
so
pinche
much.
rock and roll.
Puro pinche rock and roll. You got it from the source.
Los Skarnales, Houston, Texas. Puro pinche vato rudo forever. Órale, dale shine.
Yes. Follow them. I'm going to put all the links down and you'll get it from the source. It does not get better than this. I don't bring you garbage. I bring you the best of the best. And the best of the best is here tonight. Felipe, gracias mi corazón. Dios te bendiga. Somebody's coming in with my 96 Harley South Hills, so you can do the real picture.
Parece que va a llover. El cielo se está nublando. Parece que va a llover. Ay, mamá, me estoy mojando.
Bye, guys. Love you. And that's a wrap.